Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Force Chatter. I'm Eric and I'm here today with my co-hosts. Lou, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
I'm excited for this episode.
All right.
Not as excited as other hosts are, I think, but
we'll get to that in a minute. I mean, it is a pretty exciting topic. We finally get information about the Galactic Starcruiser, and we're going to break it down for you guys. Tom, are you excited about this?
Can we just get to the elephant in the room that is Tim's?
Hey Tim, go ahead and wave to wave, Tim. Can you wave?
I'm trying to hold this pose the best way I possibly can.
Wave, Tim.
it's amazing he can talk with his lips don't even move.
I know, right?
It's just amazing.
It's like ventriloquism, but in reverse.
Yes.
Yeah, somebody is having some video technical issues. We won't tell you who it is, but it's one of the four of us. This guy. Right here. Right there.
I don't know what to tell you. It's working fine on my end.
Sure it is.
I don't know why.
You're there for real on your end. I mean, if you walked around all day frozen like that, a Robin would be in so many different therapy appointments.
Actually, maybe Tim's just looking at a mirror and thinks it's a video screen. He's just like, yes, it works. Look,
could be. Our audio listeners right now are so confused. That's okay. That's why you should be watching us on YouTube. Go to randomchatter.com/YouTube, hit subscribe and like, and then come back and find this video, Force Chatter number 19, and you'll get to see exactly what we're talking about for the entire show. I'm not sure I can put up with that for the entire show. That's harsh. That's like
it's a
I'm wondering
which exciting picture.
Which body part has the pliers being attached right now, because
I could say, but it's a family
he
show.
Looks like the alien at the end credits of the original series Star Trek. You're right, Joe, he does. Yeah. Hey everybody in the chat room, good evening, thank you for joining us. Today we are going to break down the news about the Galactic Starcruiser. We're going to talk about what it includes, what kind of activities you can do, what the accommodations are like, and why you're not going to get to go.
And how many banks you got to rob to get there?
Unless you're rich. Yes, exactly. We do have a few things first. So one piece of kind of sad news, which we're going to get out of the way first. And, we say this every time we have something like this on a show, and we point out that normally we don't do obituaries on the Random Chatter Network because the entertainment industry is just so massive and people sadly pass on so many times that it would like always be a thing on our shows. However, J.W. Rinsler sadly passed away at the end of July. He had almost a year-long battle with pancreatic cancer. He was 58 years old. And if you don't know who he is, he's an author. He wrote probably the best making of Star Wars books I've read. I got to meet him once at a convention. In fact, he was one of the first celebrities I got to meet. Scott Chitwood, who worked for theforce.net at the time, this is back in 2005, said, "Hey, let's go to the authors hall, the writers section." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sure, why not?" And he took me. I didn't know what I was doing at the time. I'd been podcasting for like 2 months and was brand new to theforce.net. He pulled me in there and introduced me to some people, and Rinsler was one of them, and such a nice guy. And if you've read any of his books, and I highly recommend you go back now and do, this is one of those evergreen things where it's never going to get old. Just some incredible insights into what happened behind the scenes, and just some great content in there. And I know the Apple version has some interactive stuff in the ebooks. Did any of you guys get a chance to ever meet him or hear him talk at a convention or anything? I don't think he was super convention active.
No,
yeah,
I
I've
never
never
met him.
seen him at one, or even saw him, heard of him being at one.
Yeah, the only one I'm aware of from when I started doing them was Celebration 3 back in 2005, and I don't think he's appeared since then. And we used to joke about all this stuff we didn't know about Episode 7, and we're like, hey, we're gonna have to wait until Rinsler writes that book and we can all read about it. And sadly, we may still have to wait until that happens to ever hear about it, which means we may never. And he would have been the perfect person to tell us about what happened behind the scenes. But And I got to say though, in his last days, the outpouring of support from the fan community was something the community should be proud of. I think it says a lot that he had such an impact on the community. The community was willing to step up and try to help out with it. Was it a GoFundMe page or was it a
something like
one
that?
of the other services? I think it was GoFundMe to help out with the medical bills and stuff like that. And for all of the trouble and strife and infighting sometimes within the Star Wars community, I do appreciate the fact that, we stand up for our own and we try to take care of one another. And I think that is in the spirit of the themes presented in Star Wars. And I think that Rinsler was definitely deserving of that.
If you haven't picked up or seen his books, they are the definitive. And it's not just Star Wars. He's my very first book of his was his behind the scenes for Indiana Jones. I got it for Christmas when I was a kid, alongside one of his Star Wars books. So I've got just a lifelong connection, despite having never met him. His work has been on my bookshelf. Still, you can't see it behind me on the bottom shelf down there. It's an entire shelf of Rinsler, and that was there.
Wow.
That's been there since before this news. But his Star Wars stuff is definitive, right? There's nothing that comes close in terms of the access, in terms of the depth that he went to the material. It's just phenomenal. And if you haven't picked up the original trilogy set and you want to show some level of support, because I have to imagine his estate will get something still from his royalties.
Hopefully.
But they have both the hardcover and the soft cover available. They're just beautiful books. They're large, they look great, and he just poured his heart and soul into this stuff. So to lose somebody like that at such a young age, that hit me really hard.
Fetmatic in the chat room said he did the Alien franchise as well. And you're talking about the books, like how they're nice, big books, like they're impressive coffee table books. But honestly, like I got the ebook versions and they're incredible. Like the content, it's not just one of those things where, there's some pretty pictures and it's like a highly well published, produced, super overpriced, expensive book. No, the content in there is just crazy with how much depth and there's stuff. Yeah, there you go. I mean, they're nice. They're hefty books. Turn so we can see how thick it is. Yeah, see, that's not just one of those little coffee table picture books. Okay? There's good good content in those, for real. Yeah. Well, I don't even know what to say. I mean, when you're part of the community for stuff, you get wrapped up in all the content of the actual in-universe stuff, but sometimes it's having people bring to you what happened to create that stuff and the behind the scenes insights that really kind of help you truly understand the nature of how the fiction affects real life and vice versa. And he did such a good job of that. And it's so sad to see him pass on. And we could probably spend the whole episode talking about it. But we are going to move on, but our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and to everyone he's touched. And again, like Tom said, go pick up the books, not only because they're top notch products, but also because that inevitably is also going to help support his family. And maybe that'll help bump it up on the Amazon rankings and stuff like that. And then other people get exposed to it and then they'll pick it up. If you pick it up, leave a review. Those algorithms help push things up as well. I mean, do what you can to support his family. And we are going to move on from that. So we're going to get into a little bit of good news. Bad Batch 2 was picked up for another season. I was not all that surprised by it. I mean, too many things left undone. Too many plot threads to wrap up. We discussed that a few weeks ago, I think. I'm pretty happy about it. I'm still kind of like, I'm enjoying this series. It's fine. It's good. I still prefer Rebels.
We all need to know what happened to Lama Su. What happened to Prime Minister Lama Su? That has to be the storyline for season 2. we can't go on in life as fans without knowing what happened to the Kaminoan Prime
That's
Minister.
very true.
I mean, I am just so happy with the way they've taken this series, where you get a little bit of, what we all thought we were going to get of them doing missions, but they're not the missions we thought we were going to get,
Right.
which is kind of cool. But also the background on what's going on in universe.
Yeah,
they're
filling in a lot of those holes really well.
I mean, this last episode, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it gave us a clue to what happened to a certain
someone
city that we're looking to, I wonder what happened to them.
Which it's a question that's been asked for a while. It's not just, new to this series.
Yeah, I was wondering what, are they still around? Or, but no, it's.
We won't spoil anything.
I am so happy with the way this season's turned out so far, and so much better than what I expected, because I think, like you, Eric, I expected it to be, this team of clones going out and doing stuff, and it's gonna be cool, but whatever.
I mean, I know I come across as lukewarm on the series, but honestly, it's so much better than I expected it to be. I really had low expectations, and even though it's still like not my favorite thing ever, it's way better than I expected. I got to give it props for that. Like it's good.
Yep.
You guys were not in the minority. I think a large chunk of the fandom looked at their arc in season 7, which was like perfectly serviceable, not my favorite arc, and they said, well, extrapolate that to 16 episodes, and that's what we're going to get. And fine, I'll check it out. But it seems like just more of this, the goofy side of the Clone Wars. They're just kind of eking out a season 8 without calling it by the same name. And we got anything but that this season.
Yeah, really.
Which is great.
Yeah. Yeah, it really was an incredible story. I'm really, really looking forward to part 2 of this finale. I love everything that they did with
Tim?
this. I absolutely love everything they did with this.
Tim,
yes, Eric.
Fatmatic in the chat room said you're frozen. Joe said you're gone. Can you just wave real quick on your video? Can you wave to them so they know you're here?
Yeah, sure.
Or that's maybe a little bit too much. Can you just blink?
Yes.
Blink twice if you're in duress.
I mean, looking at that face, I'm in duress. I don't know about. All right, moving along. We're going to whip through this one real quick as well, because we got to get to this main story. This is big stuff. A Lego Star Wars Halloween special, Terrifying Tales, announced for October 1st on Disney Plus. With
very exciting.
Looks like Vader's hand reaching up out of the grave with a lightsaber.
Yeah. Very excited about that. I like specials. I especially like Halloween specials. And yeah, anything like this that they can do that's just spoofy and fun. Really looking forward.
I got to say, another thing that exceeded my expectations was the holiday special this last Christmas season.
It was really good.
Way better than I expected it to be.
It was.
Of course, I mean, it had a pretty low bar to live up to with the original holiday special, right? I mean,
Yeah, you could say that.
All right. So the Galactic Starcruiser, we have a lot of data we need to pass on and then a lot of commentary. So I'm going to try to kind of mix things up a little bit. I'm going to go over some of the information. We're going to go over the suite options and the accommodations. We're going to go over some of the experience highlights and the sample itinerary that's provided on the website. And we're going to break it up into kind of those two sections. So first, the suite options here. Let me make sure I've got the right of these pages up. Okay, so here's what you get. So for those who don't know, and I'm sure you probably do, there is a luxury hotel. And do they have them both in Orlando and California right now, or is it just one or the other and the other's coming soon? I mean, they're both coming like next year, right? 2022 is when they open.
Orlando for sure. I don't know.
I thought Orlando was the first one. I'm not sure.
Didn't know about Anaheim.
Yeah.
Okay, so for now, Orlando. So here's what it is. It is a hotel. It's a hotel. However, the presentation is as if you are going into a docking bay, and then you are taking a shuttle to a star cruiser in space, and you are going out on a 2-night cruise through space, during which you will get a shore excursion to Batuu, and then you will return back to Orlando, Florida, at the end of the trip. So the whole thing is presented as if it is a cruise ship in space, right down to the point where your windows in your hotel room are actually view screens of stars and presumably like hyperspace and other ships flying by and stuff like that. Like the whole thing is designed to be immersive. You are to believe you are actually in space in Star Wars. The cast, like all of the crew, they're all cast members are all in character. There are little role-playing things throughout the ship, and I guess there are light side, dark side points. You get a little wristband with like an RFID chip in it. So here's how it breaks down. It's a 2-night stay in either a cabin or a suite. And based on the itinerary, it looks like, kind of looks like it's a 1.5 day thing. We'll get back to that. Food and beverages are included. And that includes one meal at Galaxy's Edge. Well, technically,
I don't believe alcohol is included, though.
Correct. Alcohol is not included.
Which is the same as the Disney cruise ships. They don't include alcohol in your package.
Most cruise lines are like that. So that's not a big surprise. You get admission to Disney Hollywood Studios, the Batuu shore excursion sort of thing. Valet parking. So here's the breakdown. There's, it's funny because the website, they're saying, there's a lot more information coming. And so they break down the different, like the standard cabin all the way through to the suite. But then the pricing doesn't quite match up with the cabin descriptions. So here's what they have for cabin descriptions. There's a standard cabin. So this includes a pull-out table and television with entertainment from your home planet and a window with the view out into space. Now, when you get to the prices, dude, if you go to the Galaxy Starcruiser and you're sitting there watching TV from, quote, your home planet, I want a video of you sitting there for a couple of hours just sitting and watching TV because you are like the biggest money waster.
Don't watch CNN right now.
Yeah, that is going to cost you so much per minute.
Be in jail for that. Like, that's just wrong. So the standard cabin sleeps 4 to 5 passengers. The configuration is there's one queen bed. There are 2 berths, which are kind of like bunk beds that are embedded into the wall. If you see the concept art pictures, you'll see there's kind of like these little cubby holes in the wall where adults or kids can sleep. And then there is a pull-down bed for one adult if you have 5 people in your cabin. There's also a mini fridge, hairdryer, an in-cabin safe, a phone with voicemail messaging, interactive TV, and H2O Plus spa, bath, and shower products. There is a suite, which is a, a 1-bedroom, 2-window. The windows in these seem kind of small. So
it's just it's going to be an LCD.
Right, it's a video screen. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
You're thinking, oh, it's going to be like this big window. No, it's the window. So this suite has
you're going to see
2
space.
windows. Well, you're going to see like ships and the little with the hyperspace things when you.
Well, yeah, but you're not seeing outside.
No,
and you're not seeing like a lot of scenery. It's
I bet
because you're in a
I bet they
starship.
keep the view kind of dynamic though. I bet that there's. Well, plus there's a hint.
Oh, sure.
There's a hint that there are, quote, things that
hyperspace.
go wrong. So I'm guessing there's probably going to be some battles outside. Just saying.
Yeah, possibly.
So-
I mean, if you're traveling in hyperspace, though, there's nothing
Well,
to
not
see.
in hyperspace, but the whole thing isn't
It's-
hyperspace.
It's like when you get on a cruise ship, a real cruise ship, and you leave port. If you're going to a destination, they do most of the traveling at night because you have nothing to see.
Wait.
It's like you.
I just want to say this real quick. Do the Alaska cruise, Norwegian Cruise Lines, because you can sit on your balcony the whole day and there's just like glaciers floating by and all these little towns and seaplanes that come in and land next to the cruise ship. And it's like, and then you go to do the Caribbean thing after that and you're bored. You're like, why did I pay for this balcony room? Anyway, whole different rant. Sorry. So this one also has a double vanity bathroom, which is an upgrade over the standard cabins. Like I said, 2 windows and, quote, a few extra Star Wars surprises. And this is basically...
They didn't even call it a refresher?
No, they didn't.
Sorry.
And that would have been like the perfect...
I had to break in
right?
with that.
So it's the same room configuration. Queen size bed. 2 wall pull-down beds for 1 adult each. So this sleeps 4 passengers and not 5. I guess it doesn't have the little cubby holes in the wall.
So can I just ask one question about this whole room configuration thing? Now, on a real cruise ship, space is a premium. They can only build these ships so big, and that's why you have, like, when Sharon and I went on the Star Wars cruise, we had a suite that was for sleeping 7 people. We had 1 bed.
Wow.
And they had other beds that came out of the walls if you want to have other people.
Lou, I love you, but I really hate
so
you
couch
right now.
The couch becomes a bed. There's a pull down from the ceiling. There's it's like somebody sleeps in a closet.
Right.
Because space is a premium. But in this thing, it's a hotel room. Why do we have to have a pull down bed from the ceiling? And if it's a suite, make it a bigger room. Make it a suite.
Well, you're in space, Lou, so you can only have so much space.
Yeah, give it the LARP here.
I guess that's the feel of it, but still, you don't have to have.
Lou, it's Star Wars. Where's your suspension of disbelief? Like there's no sound in space, but it's Star Wars, Lou.
Huge rooms. In the future, we can have huge rooms in a Starcruiser.
Yeah, I know. And there's only 100 rooms in this hotel. Yeah. Moving along, there's
my suspension.
If they built it bigger.
I'm with you. Here's the thing. Well, Lou, remember, I want you to come back to that point when we get to the prices, okay? Yeah. The Grand Captain Suite is a 2-bedroom suite. Okay. So basically, think 2 of the standard cabins put together, also with the double vanity bathroom, a second bathroom with a single vanity, a bar area, 3 windows. And then we get down to the prices. Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit confusing because the prices aren't broken down by the cabin type. So it's almost like these are examples of the prices, okay? Because you've got the 3 different cabin types, but then it's also determined by how many people you have going with you. And to be clear, these are for, quote, voyage departure dates, most weeknights, not weekends, from August 20th to September 17th of next year. So these are probably going to be
which is a low time,
opening weeks, but like the downtime, not the weekends, etc. Okay. So two guests per cabin will be $4,800 for the 2 nights. So in other words, $1,200 per person per night. Now, if you add a third person, then it's $5,300.
Do they take Republic credits?
No, your Republic credits are no good out here on the rim.
I need something more real.
Something more real. 4 guests per cabin is $6,000. I don't know about you guys, but $5,000, round it up $100, big deal. $5,000 for 2 people for 2 nights. Now I'm going to come back to but there's days there and events and stuff. I'm going to come back to that when we get to the itinerary, because that breakdown gets even more disappointing in a moment. Believe it or not. $5,000 for 2 people for 2 nights. I went on an Alaska cruise. It was a 9-day cruise. 9 days, 8 nights. It was the best vacation I've had by far in my life. All of my other vacations added up and combined was not as good as that, including shore excursions, including whatever we paid on alcohol. And we had a balcony suite, not suite, but a balcony cabin. What else? Like all of that, I don't even think came to $5,000. I think it was like 4 something. It was 9 days. And I'm sorry, but you guys know I'm into Star Wars. I don't know that I would spend $5,000 on 2 nights when I could go and do 9 days and 8 nights in Alaska, shore excursions, all this kind of stuff. Like it's just, I want to see this, but it's just it doesn't pass the common sense test.
Yeah. I'll tell you 2 things jumped to my mind when I excitedly clicked on the link, heard that the news had dropped. And the first was just a moment in Jurassic Park where Hammond is like, this park was not built to cater only to the super rich. And then the lawyer is like, sure, we'll have a coupon day.
Right.
And then the second,
right.
The second was that this is exclusionary.
Yeah.
It left a really bad taste in my mouth. I think the reaction universally from the fandom has been like, what the heck?
Yeah.
They'll fill those rooms.
Oh, yeah.
But it's going to be people like celebrities, people with a lot of money to burn. They're going to be doing this stuff. So from their perspective, I don't know when the incentive will be to lower the price. I mean, the sticker price on all Disney hotels really isn't what you pay in reality, but those hotels aren't like the new thing.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah. We all know this is untouchable, like for the first few months, period.
Yeah. And that was something to bring up too, because I mean, like on a cruise ship, no one's paying the posted rate. When you go on the websites, you know, even Disney, you go on the websites and look what the cruise costs. No one's paying those rates, or very few at least. And then when you're on the cruise and they're trying to book you for your next year's cruise, it's like 65% off.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think this is going to be that way, but
eventually,
it maybe,
the prices will come down.
You look at this, and I'm like, yeah, okay. So Disney did the cruise thing really well. I mean, they've got that down. The customer service aspect of that is fantastic. I imagine this will be just like that, if not
I have no
better,
doubts about that side of it.
Because there's fewer people planning ahead. You know, so when you go to Disney Cruise in Florida, you get to the embarking area, and it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the embarking process is part of the trip. You know, it's kind of cool. I mean, they're unloading passengers in the morning. They're bringing passengers on in the afternoon. The ship is being stocked during the whole time, but they've got that worked out so you're not seeing any of that in the background. You're just there to enjoy the day. And this would be the same thing. But I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, you're not paying for a brand new cruise ship. You're paying for a hotel. Okay, slightly bit different in terms of dollars, I imagine, what you pay for a hotel versus a cruise ship. And I just don't see how they're charging this much more for this kind of experience versus a cruise.
So there are some things. So I imagine that ILM's X-Lab was probably involved in things like the lightsaber training, which we'll get to the different experiences in a few minutes, because, you know, that uses like VR headsets and all that kind of thing.
Sure.
All the staff members are actors. Now, granted, again, 100 rooms. So you've got a pretty good level of control over the activities and events and movements of the guests. I mean, you can put 100 people in a little theater on a cruise ship pretty easily. I mean, I went to a concert on a cruise ship and there was well over 100 people just at that concert alone. So like 100, it's not that it's 100 people, it's 100 rooms. So you figure 4 people per room, 400 people. That's still like a really controllable amount. And then you've got all of the quote cast, you know, the staff members who were in character. I mean, the level of immersion is going to cost something. There are going to be expenses to this that you wouldn't have at other hotels. And there are going to be aspects of it that will be like a cruise as far as the customer service side of things, if not some of the logistics and some of the structural expense side of things. Like, you're not actually pushing a city through the water. I mean, that can't be cheap.
Right.
But I want to go over the sample itinerary real quick. Okay. So as I break this down, keep in mind, this is an example. There are other ways to do this. There are other activities and events, but look at the timing on some of these things. Okay. So day 1, arrive at the terminal. Like, you pull in and check in at 1 p.m. Okay. So you're already in PM hours. Launch pod to the Starcruiser, 1:15 to 1:30. That's when you get in the little bus with the video screens on the windows. And it's like you're flying off planet, off of Earth, up to the ship. And then I guess you're supposed to emerge in like a docking bay and go into the ship and stuff. Ship orientation is, that runs to 2:15. Light refreshments from 3 to 3:30. Sabak lessons, 3:30 to 4. A muster from 4 to 4:30. And then the captain's reception from 4:30 to 5. Dinner with live music from 5:30 to 7:30. Outer Rim regalia, 7:15 to 7:30. And then an unexpected story moment. For example, you might prove your mettle to join an elite smuggling ring, or hide a stowaway to help the resistance. So this is some of the role play games that are going on. And that's from 7:30 to 8. So these are like little half-hour segments. And keep in mind, if you've, I guess maybe physically this is kind of small, because again, only 100 rooms, but you know, it takes time to move from area to area within like a real cruise ship and stuff too. Yeah. So
this feels incredibly
very tight.
In terms
very,
of
very tight.
It
bridge
It does, but with the fewer rooms they have like this, I can see this working.
Maybe.
And part of this comes from, just the way they were able to move people through the cruise ship.
Yeah.
It leads me to believe, okay, they can pull this off pretty well because they had that down, to a science.
So here's the other thing, though.
The thing is, I could go to the bathroom and miss half of one of these events.
That exact thing.
Yeah.
That exact thing.
I'm paying almost $5,000.
And you missed the sabacc training. You don't get to play in the tournament next day, right? Like there's.
Yeah. You need more fiber.
You're gonna lose your shirt. You'll bet your ship and you'll be out.
They'll throw you overboard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or Lou will be there with the button.
They'll space you. Yeah.
I tell you what, if they ever
yeah.
open up that casting position, we got to get Lou in there.
I'm all over that.
So bridge training from 8 to 8:45, special atrium entertainment from 8:30 to 8:45. That's like 15 minutes. I'm with you, Lou, about their ability. Listen, I do trust certain things with this. I trust the efficiency. I trust the customer service. I trust the presentation without question. However, this is a freaking tight schedule. Moving on, day 2.
It's a machine gun pace.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, when they shake this out in their first couple of weeks, I think there's going to be some major adjustments. That's
kind of why they're saying sample itinerary, sample prices. Well, not sample prices, but like here's some of the prices with more to come. They're kind of hedging their bets with a lot of this stuff. So on day 2, which is like the only full day here, breakfast from 7 to 8, transport shuttle to Batu, and then when you get there at 8:25, then Rise of the Resistance from 8:45 to 9:30. The big immersive ride there at Galaxy's Edge. And then I'm going to come back to this in a minute. And then there's a story moment. Again, the role play thing. You might broker a deal for a heist or arrange to steal a ship from the First Order. And that's about 20 minutes long. Then Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run from 10 to 10:30. And then lunch at Docking Bay 7 Food and Cargo from 11:15 to 11:45. And again, that's paid for. And then, transport shuttle to the Starcruiser from 12:40 to 12:50. Like you got a really narrow window on Batu.
So you don't get to spend.
Bam. And here's what I want to know.
You don't get to spend any time in Batu. You don't get to go to the shops. You don't get to
build a lightsaber.
Walk around. None of that.
And here's the thing. Do you get fast passes for these things?
If you want to take a picture, you're gonna miss a ride.
If I'm paying $6,000, you damn well better give me a fast pass.
This excursion is going to be. Well, yeah, I imagine this is going to be spelled out for you for that excursion time frame. You're not be waiting in any lines. You're not doing anything else but that. Like you said, you're not going to get to go to the the shops. You're not going to get to go to any other food things. You're not going to see anything else. I mean, part of going to Batu is you want to see the place.
Now,
right?
I think that you can stay longer if you want and come back later in the day. Again, this is a sample itinerary, but if you do that, you're going to be losing other things. For example, you would be losing, in this case, lightsaber training from 1 to 1:30. Now, again, maybe these are broken up during other times. Maybe they're also doing lightsaber training at 3 p.m. and 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. Who knows? But let's assume that they're doing that sort of thing, okay? Lightsaber training from 1 to 1:30. Droid racing competition from 2:30 to 2:50. So there's an hour in there. That's like the biggest gap we've seen so far and one of the few. Build a model ship from 3 to 3:30. Sabacc tournament from 4 to 5. That sounds interesting. Cocktails at the Sublight Lounge from 5 to 5:30. Taste around the Galaxy dinner from 5:30 to 7. By the way, you will be sitting at large tables with other guests. Pointed that I looked it up in the FAQ.
Just like a
typical cruise. Yeah. Yep. Typical cruise.
Some cruises will let you have private tables as well. And sometimes you have to pay a little bit more for it. But yeah, this one, that's not even an option. And then there's another story moment. You might put the heist plan into action or bring the stolen ship aboard and watch out for the First Order. So it looks like there's a continuation of your storyline.
But this one's a longer segment, though. This is 7:30 to 8:45.
Yes, so that's a little over an hour. But this is like the finale, it appears, of your story.
Right.
Because there's pieces, and this is kind of the culmination of what you've done so far. And then there is the, quote, spectacular finale from 10 to 11. And I'm guessing this is like, the big battle taking place outside your windows and stormtroopers raiding the ship and Jedi coming in and saving everybody. And then you go to bed. Day 3, breakfast from 8:30 to 9:30. And then at 9:30, it says GTFO. What does that stand for, Lou? What's that mean? 9:30, you're done.
So really, what we're
See ya.
talking, it's a day and a half. It's a day and a half.
Because there is no day 3. You wake up and you GTFO to your car.
Bye.
Enjoy your breakfast and then go.
Yeah.
Day and a half.
Now the stuff that they're putting out does say, so you have 2 nights. It includes the hotel. They're also saying it includes Galaxy's Edge and Hollywood Studios, along with food and beverages.
Well, that's because if you walk out of Galaxy's Edge, you are in Hollywood Studios. So like they kind of have to. Yeah. They're not going to play gatekeeper.
Right. So what I'm kind of assuming / hoping for this is that you do get the ability to re-enter Galaxy's Edge aside from the 2 hours that they're going to give you there for specifically for those rides and that kind of stuff to actually go in and enjoy it.
I'm hoping day 3 is that.
Day 3, you go back to the terminal.
Starcruiser,
meaning your car.
Right, but I'm kind of hoping that you can now go back.
Yeah, but you have a pass. Yeah, I would hope then that you have
that would be the hope.
I would hope because that general attendee.
But there's no indication that that's the case. The only indication is you could spend all of your full day in Galaxy's Edge, but then you're missing out on the stuff on the cruise ship that you just paid $6,000 for. So, I would almost want to skip Batu and then go back to Batu on day 3 on my own dime.
Right.
Because,
well, with the exception of on day 2, when you get down to Batu, part of your story happens there. So that's part of this immersive experience you're getting.
You're right. You're right.
Moment.
So go down there, do the story, grab a bite to eat, and get back to get back to the ship quick.
Yeah. I mean, and again, it's all part of that thing of you arrive at the terminal, you drive up to the terminal on day 1, you get there. And, you are now, instead of going to the airport and going through security, you're going to the starport and you're going through security and getting onto your cruise ship via a, launch pod up to the Starcruiser. Yeah. You travel to Batu, you take a pod down, you do your thing there, you get the whole story moment thing happening, pod back up, now you're on the ship and you're going home again. So it was basically your whole thing was to go there and back. It just seems expensive.
Yeah.
Like we said before, it just seems expensive.
Yeah. It doesn't seem expensive. It is
not just a little bit expensive, but like all the way expensive.
The other part of this, that bothers me is, so if we had, so say it was, Tim and his wife, and he brought me as another adult, and then brought Eric as the child.
I'm okay with that.
So there's 4 of us there now. Now, who gets the story? Are we all involved? Is it just Tim? Do I have my own story going on?
No, Lou. This is like a Disney thing. So I'm the kid. I get the story. Do you not know how Disney works, Lou?
Fine, but
Tim's going to be in the brig the entire time.
It's I going back a bit to something you said earlier, Lou, that usually things like this, like for cruises and such, the prices do go down. Maybe not officially, but you get all sorts of deals and that kind of stuff and things that'll happen. I expect for the first year, most people are going to be paying this premium price. Yep. It's kind of like the rack rate of a hotel, which is the absolute, that's the listed rate of the hotel, which typically no one ever pays, because based on supply and demand in the area and such, they do different things. Now, obviously, this is different because they're offering an experience with this and food and all that kind of stuff. So I don't expect that necessarily that kind of fluctuation, but just like a cruise, it's going to be go sit through this half-day seminar on rental properties, and then you're going to be able
rental
to
properties on Alderaan,
do this
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. And then you're going to be able to do this for $3,000.
Yeah.
Which is still kind of expensive for 2 nights.
And here's the worst part about like when the prices are going to come down. And I want to throw it back to Tom because I know he's going to have to bolt soon and he had something he wanted to say. But the prices come down a lot of times on hotels and cruises and stuff when they're not sure they can book all the rooms. When's the next time that these 100 rooms are likely to go unbooked? Yeah, my kid is no longer going to be a kid at that point. Yeah, Tom, what were you going to say though?
So a few things jump out. First of all, the nights, because you're confined to the hotel. It's not like some other excursion, like a cruise ship. You could probably go around. There's probably late night stuff available. In all likelihood, when stuff shuts down here, that's it. Go back to your hotel. Go back to your stateroom. Watch your TV from Earth, and that's about it. I have to feel like, you know, the bar is probably going to close relatively early. You're not going to see like a 2-3 a.m.
Maybe
bar opening.
I would hope not.
I could be wrong.
I would hope not.
But, you know, stuff's going to shut down. And so when that itinerary ends, you know, maybe there's a little bit of leeway there, but stuff shuts down. The other thing that's confirmed, there is no kids only area. So if you're going as an adult thinking that this is going to be like your Star Wars experience and nobody's going to mess it up, and kids are going to be all over the place. They're going to be up in your missions. They're going to be doing all these things right alongside you. Even in the eating areas, the bar, like there is no kid-free zone in this entire hotel. For somebody like me with kids, who, if I ever go to this hotel, I will be bringing my daughters, whether they like Star Wars or not. That's totally fine. But I know there are a lot of people out there that would look at a price tag on something like this and they say, this is my lifetime Star Wars experience. I don't want anything to mess it up. And the moment you get some like screaming, petulant child in the middle of your sabacc training, it's gonna just blow the whole experience.
I have
apart.
to imagine that there are certain things, though, like, for example, the bar, by law, this is still in Florida. There's got to be laws where they might not allow kids in the bar. The sabacc tournament might be, well, even the lightsaber training is restricted to 7 and up. So if your kid's 6, they're not getting in. So there are inherently some restrictions, though you're correct. There's no kids only area. Well, a lot of people don't know on a cruise, a lot of times there's like a daycare area, like all the way up through teenagers, where you can go drop your kids off, and there's like activities and there's like, you know, they can contact you throughout the ship, blah, blah, blah. Like there's security stuff, but there's things where the kids can go do the kid things and the parents can go relax and like sit in the hot tub or do whatever. And to your point, Tom, this does not have that. If you take kids, you're not getting moments away from them at all. And if you're not bringing kids, there's going to be limited. Like it's going to be maybe the bar and the sabacc tournament, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
and
for what you guys said in terms of the bar probably closing early, all 3 of you have traveled with me. You guys should know by now that the bar always ends up in
I was going to say, you did notice there are mini fridges in the rooms, right? But Tom, what else?
That's true. No, I was going to say the other piece of it is that, you know, when I went to Galaxy's Edge right before the pandemic started, my wife and I built like phone cases with like Legos and stuff to make them to look like data pads. Like we were going to do all the missions, and like we took pains. Like when I interacted with cast members, I was using Star Wars terminology. Like I was like leaning into the role play aspect for my own experience. But it still left a lot to be desired, and that was just when you're walking around. I mean, and that area is not built to be like a LARP type experience. Here, you're going to be, I have no doubt whatsoever. I agree with you, Eric. The presentation, the cast members, all are going to be level 100. It's going to be fantastic. But your experience, to a certain extent, is going to be influenced by those around you who are just at the hotel. And not everybody is going to be like super into the stuff. Now, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to do these story elements or whatever. But you're going to get the dad that's just sitting there with his cell phone, like up videotaping everything for home movies. You're going to get the people that like they're there because and this is just a feature of Disney culture. It is the new thing. It is the exclusive thing. At this price, it is the thing that you can wave on social media and say, look what I did. And
look how rich I am and you're not.
You cannot do.
You're going to get a lot of those people at first too.
Yeah. So I imagine in the first wave, they're going to have media outings. They're going to have certain availability for folks within the fan sphere that work in the industry or whatever. That's a very different crowd than your average like hotel goer. And it's, you know, I've played, I went through and played a lot of the missions in Batuu. Granted, those aren't with cast members. They were okay. Yeah. They'd probably be pretty cool if I was a kid. But, you know, I have to believe that they've got to step up and offer something that's going to keep you hooked while those around you are like, well, let me just videotape this
Right.
entire experience, and we're never going to watch this as a family. So
We're going to talk
that's
in just a second about some of the actual events. So there's some good news here too. Tom, are you able to stick around for that, or do you have to bolt?
Yeah, I've got about another 5
Okay,
minutes.
interrupt me as soon as you got to duck out. Okay.
Sure.
So there are some good things about this as well. I don't want to make this sound like it's all sour grapes, because I think really the big hurdle right now is the price and the very, very short duration. And again, I still feel like you said, Tim, this itinerary is really, really cramped. And the details on this, for details about your personal itinerary, please check the Play Disney Parks app 30 days before your voyage departure date. Experiences are subject to change without notice. So you get a personal itinerary given to you. So the flexibility in this looks like it's probably kind of limited. It's not like a real cruise ship where you wander through and you choose the things you're going to do and then you go do them. Yeah. Like, you don't have to do the lightsaber training, but if you want to do the lightsaber training, you're going at 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday. And if you don't go 1:30 p.m. on Tuesday, you don't go.
And I get that since they're trying to build this immersive experience with a story,
they need to.
They kind of need you to be at certain places at certain times. But still, to do this in 2 nights is like you're sprinting every single day. Like,
you need to watch what you eat, because if you need a 30-minute bathroom break at the wrong time, you're missing an entire event.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I would be more exhausted after one of these days than I would a day at a con.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Because it's just like go.
And I also want to know again, do you get? They've got to give you fast passes for the 2 rides. They have to. They have to.
Yeah.
I'm sure you get led off the shuttle, you get led into the ride, and you do it.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure
there's not even a pass.
You are just there. Yeah, you are going right to it.
If you're a normal park goer at that point, that time is roped off. You will not be able to go on the ride during that window. That's why it's only 30 minutes. The interesting thing is that it takes if you've gone on Rise of the Resistance, that's a 15-minute ride start to finish. You're not like in the ride car the entire time of that, but the entire experience it's long. Like, it takes a minute. So they're going to have to, like, if you want to go on Rise of the Resistance, you've got to go during that window, because there is no other time. They're going to open it up to guests. And so if, folks are thinking that they're going to do other stuff, you're going to have to make a tough choice to do that.
So the one thing I thought was interesting about this, when you looked at what the prices were, there was not like an option for mom and dad and 2 or 3 kids. It was 2 adults, 2 adults and a kid, 3 adults and a kid.
Well, or you could do 2 adults and 2 kids. I mean, it's not going to be like, well, you can't come in because we were expecting another adult, and that kid's clearly not an adult.
Yeah, I'm just wondering why knowing Disney and how Disney is family friendly, why would they be an option for 3 adults and a kid?
All of the options involved exactly 1 kid for the pricing, and that, come on. Yeah. But if you look at the suites, one of them.
Has Disney ever been to a Disney park before?
The standard cabin holds 5 people.
Look at the look on my face.
And none of those pricing options included 5 people. So that's the other confusing thing. Like, those pricing options are just examples. They're not the real price breakdown. Now, granted, it's not opening for a whole year, so they didn't have to really break it down yet. But I expect we're going to be getting more details on that soon, because, like you said, what if you want 5 people in that standard cabin? What does that bring the price down to then? So, there's a question on that.
Or what if, like, the 4 of us wanted to go as the podcast?
Which I kind of want to do.
Together as, we're 4 fans. We want to experience this together.
Lou, if you've still got the contact information from the Disney cruise that you went on before, and can somehow, like, we need some media passes into this.
I will see. I know one of the persons I've talked to has moved on, but I'll see what I can find.
Tom, you still good?
Yeah, I've got another minute or two, so I guess I'll offer my last comments on this. No doubt this is going to be amazing. Yes. I think, I know you guys, I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but I'm very curious about whether they're going to clamp down on live streaming, like vloggers attending, no doubt that during the media tour, that sort of stuff, if you remember back when they opened Galaxy's Edge, like everybody that got a media invite was doing all sorts of stuff like that for a very purposeful reason. I mean, it generated a lot of excitement and buzz. But here, it's sort of like it's almost akin to like you're on Pirates of the Caribbean filming it, and they tend to frown on that sort of thing. So I'm very curious whether they're going to be like, we want to keep the mystique of this place up, so we're going to clamp down on that. But I wouldn't be surprised if, in the face of this backlash, because people have just like sort of universally scoffed at these prices for no matter how amazing it is on the inside. Right. I mean, for $6,000, you can do an entire Disney trip with multiple, like at one of the nicer hotels and all these options, or you can do a day and a half experience.
And that's the thing too. Like, I'm sure that this is a good experience, but those are good experiences too, and you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck with that. Yeah. If
I, I'm in a position, I have a family, I have to make tough choices about, vacations and stuff. And this isn't going to be on the docket anywhere in the future if the prices don't come down. It's just, and I bleed Star Wars. And so it pains me to say that, but I just think, I think they shot for the moon, especially in sort of the COVID kind of getting out of the post-COVID. I mean, this isn't like the hotel industry as a whole, Disney as a park isn't doing what they were doing in 2018, 2019, pre-pandemic. So to command those rates when, even some of the nicer hotels in the nicer parts of the world are having to cut breaks just seems like a little bit of a reach. And so but it's almost,
it feels a little bit,
the stuff on the itinerary has to be mind-blowing. And I look at the list of those things and I'm like, these are things that you can do at a con, albeit not with the Disney fanfare and stuff like that, but like droid racing, like I am completely open to be, and I'm sure I'll be blown away and eat my shoe at some point in the future, but I would strongly consider it for half this price, but that's probably.
I kind of look at it like, if you know what a reverse auction is. So, they don't have to worry about it until there are rooms going empty, and there won't be rooms going empty for a long time. And then the first time a room goes empty, they lower the price a little bit. And then the next time it goes empty again, they lower the price a little bit more. So it's like a reverse auction. You maintain the prices until you can't anymore, and then you drop them, and you maintain that until you can't, and you drop them until you find where that sweet spot is. It's going to be that way for a while. I predict like at least a couple of years, probably. 100 rooms? I mean, it's going to be a waiting list. It's going to be 2 years long for this.
I'll see y'all in the 2040s there. We'll get a podcast. We'll all be
They'll have the geriatric section. The whole thing will just be like a VR helmet because we won't be able to walk around.
Get out of my way, youngling.
Hitting them with our lightsabers.
All right, I've got to duck out.
All right, Tom. We got a few more things to talk about. Take care, Tom. Have a good night, and we will see you again next week. So let me change the camera view over here. All right. So like I said, there are some good things about this, though. I'm going to go over the different list of events that they've posted. So there's lightsaber training. And my understanding from the information that had been released previously is that this is going to be VR. Now, I have an Oculus Quest 2. My understanding, the VR sets they're going to be using are pretty well above that. And even with the Quest 2, like things like Beat Saber and the Star Wars games that exist that have lightsabers, they're pretty impressive. Like I'm pretty content with them. So having something that's designed specifically to be lightsaber training in an environment with an instructor, and my understanding is this is going to be like a full motion capture sort of an environment, not just, slap on a VR headset and 2 handsets. No, this is going to be like the full rig. Okay. That's not a bad thing. So that sounds pretty good. There's bridge training. So explore the working bridge of the legendary Halcyon Starcruiser and learn how it functions from the crew during this hands-on experience. So you are actually going to be steering the ship, literally. The crew will teach you how the navigation, power, defense, and other critical systems keep the Starcruiser safe from unforeseen galactic entanglements. These skills may even come in handy should critical situations arise later in your voyage. So I'm guessing either during the finale or at some other point, you actually get to like actively participate in some of the role play event using the little things that you got trained on how to do before. And back to Tom's point that he made a moment ago, like, this would have to be really impressive to be something more than just what you can do at a con. I think it's things like this, interacting with live actors where you're walking from one room into another room. You can't do that at a con. You can't walk from, you know, the sabacc table over into the bridge of the ship and there's a battle going on and you are manning the controls with like an actual bridge crew around you. I think there is really truly a different level of immersion here. There's the planning excursion. We already talked about that. The Sublight Lounge, which is basically the bar, and it looks like some gambling there. The sabacc tournament happens there. And I got to say, I'm totally down for a sabacc tournament. I would love that. In fact, I think we need our own little random chatter sabacc tournament outside from this. We'll charge a lot less. We'll charge spectators 1,000, not 6,000.
There you go.
Yeah. So those are the main things that we're listing.
I mean, they're also encouraging you to dress the part. You know, almost role play.
You can't dress up in the parks,
costumes,
but you can for this.
Right, and you can, and they even say you can buy stuff there too. You know, on the ship.
I won't be able to. I'll be broke.
So you know, exactly.
I'll be able to pay for water.
You know, everything about this says it's gonna be an amazing
When are you
experience.
going to have the time to buy anything?
Well, there's that too. Unless they're walking around like, you know, souvenirs. Well, you're not going to have time.
It says if your wardrobe is currently limited to a single planet, Star Wars Galaxy apparel is available in advance from Shop Disney or
there
on
you
the
go.
ship.
So you buy your Jedi robes in advance, and then
But you know, the one thing about this, and this goes to Tim's point about the whole when you have time thing and everything, but this is going to be an amazing hotel in itself. Just to walk around and see the hotel, you're not going to get a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are going to be tons of details on this, you know, Starcruiser that is going to be really cool to see and check out and learn and experience. But you're never going to be able to do that because there's no time.
One of the most exciting things people say about going on Smuggler's Run is before you actually get into the cockpit and you can sit there in the cargo room on the Millennium Falcon and like sit at the holochess table and get your pictures taken and like walk around and you're like, wow, I'm in the Millennium Falcon. And like Lou just said, you don't get part of the immersion is I can just walk around and go where I want. And that's the thing. And in this, it almost feels like with the itinerary, you're going to be shuttled from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another.
Yeah. This
is a really tight itinerary. They need to space it out more. I'm sorry.
Right.
And there are some other activities too that aren't on here, like the mediocre modeler mentioned. There's a model shipbuilding, which is kind of cool. There are some other little things here and there, but listen, I know this is going to be a thrilling, exciting experience. The price has got to drop a lot for it to be worth it. For the average person.
It's just, I mean, this totally leaves out the average fan.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, none of us can afford this kind of a experience. And it feels like they're not catering to who got them to where they are, right? I mean,
it kind of feels like
the average fan,
it goes against the kind of the theme of Star Wars of, you know, the rooting for the underdogs, right? We are the moisture farmers from Tatooine. We are not the high rollers on Canto Bight from Episode 8, who were kind of seen as the bad guys.
I get that.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get that going to a park, period, can be expensive, especially if you're going with, you know, taking a family or whatever. But this is just so insanely prohibitive to most people. I mean, this isn't just, you know, the folks who are, you know, living paycheck to paycheck or whatever. Like this is big. That's a lot of money, and that doesn't even include getting there.
Oh well, yeah, there's that too.
So you know, for those of us who aren't Lizzie, who practically live next door to the park, there's a cost associated with us getting down there.
Yeah.
And that may also include getting down there like the day before So you then have to lodge in another hotel so you can be there for when, check-in is at this
Can you
hotel.
imagine if your
nuts.
flight gets canceled and doesn't arrive until the next day?
Yeah, you're screwed.
Oh my gosh. I would be pissed.
Yeah.
And if you've got kids who are really counting on this, like big Star Wars fans, I know you can get like vacation insurance and stuff if you get it through like a travel agent, but even with that just gets you your money back. That doesn't get you your kids' love back. Like you're done. Like just forget it. You might as well kick them out of the house now because you're never going to talk to you again. I mean, that's a big deal.
And I know this is a sample itinerary, but like you guys said before, everything is so short on here. I mean, I'd rather see them take out 2 or 3 things and give me, the captain's reception from 4:30 to 5. Really? A half hour? The outer rim regalia, 15 minutes. What do you can barely, you barely get to a room and look around and say, okay, this is pretty cool. Oh, gotta go.
Yeah. It's like, don't drink anything because if you have to pee at some point, you're missing something.
The word depends.
Yeah, there you go. Just bring a catheter. I don't know. And the other thing too is like if I travel all the way down there, because you're talking about travel expenses, which are not a small thing for some people either. You're going to want to do this and the parks because a lot of people, if they go down to Orlando or Anaheim, that's like the one time they're going down there that decade. For a lot of people. I know some people travel a lot, but a lot of us don't. We just don't have the money or the availability to go away from work. A lot of us do live paycheck to paycheck. Between the 2008 tech bubble burst, housing crisis, blah, 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 and then the COVID and stuff. I mean, a lot of us aren't sitting pretty. So this is a big deal. So if you're going to go all the way down there, you might as well also see the rest of the other parks. And also, you're not even seeing all of the park that you're actually going into. So that's more money. So then you have to start thinking, well, wouldn't it be better to spend 5 days and see all of the parks than like a day and a half and see 2 rides from one park and the inside of a hotel? Like, I don't care how amazing this is. This price right now is prohibitively high for the average person. It's going to be years before it ducks down to something reasonable. Any other thoughts or comments on any of this? We need to wrap this up. You're hitting the hour point. I'm excited. I want to see it. I want it to be great. I think it is going to be great. I know it's going to be another decade before the prices come down to a point where I get to go.
Yeah. I mean, hey, just look at my face. I'm excited.
Right there. Ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're absolutely one of the things this does, though, it may have the reverse effect of what they're hoping. It's very exciting. It's going to give us this. I really, really, really want to go. I can't wait till the price comes down. But are we setting it to be too much? Is it going to be able to live up to that expectation? I mean, for $6,000, I want to have everything I want, and I know I'm not going to get it.
Yeah, you're not going to get the whole experience.
Is it going to be? Yeah.
And one of the articles was saying that you'll get a different experience the next time you go back. And it's like, well, next time I go back, how rich do you think I am? I mean, this is my lifetime savings to go once. And then I think it was Mediocre Modeler maybe in the chat room. Somebody in the chat room had pointed out, by the time we can afford to go, there'll be something better somewhere else. Like Universal Studios, Harry Potter universe. You'll get to be on a hotel that's like a floating castle in the sky or something like this will be old tech by the time we get to go. I don't know. Well, let's cross our fingers and hope that, maybe in a year or two, we'll be able to afford to go. Because it really does look like this is a game changer for immersive experiences. And I love that. I really, really do. I love the concept of this. I love some of the things they're doing. We didn't even talk about like the food and all of that kind of stuff. It's got to be accessible to people. And right now it's not. It's just not even almost accessible to most people. So that's going to be a big deal. If I had to take my kid somewhere for like a big, like once in a decade sort of vacation, it's not going to be for a day and a half. We're going somewhere for like better part of a week.
Right.
So, and that's it. All right. Well, that's going to do it then for this episode of Force Chatter. This is kind of a big deal. It's been a long time since we've had Star Wars news, and this really is truly a big talking point. It's big news. It's a big thing that's part of the fan community. And we want to know what you guys have to say about it. So hop into the Discord server at randomchatter.com/escape hatch. And we've got Star Wars channels there. We've got a Random Chatter Network channel in the community projects section. Hit us up and let us know what you think about this whole thing. Are you going to plan to go? Are you going to plan to try to go early? Are you thinking it's going to be years before you get to go? Do you think it's worth it? Do you think it's going to be that immersive and impressive? Do you think that it's enough time? Give us your thoughts on this. There's a lot of different aspects of this to break down, and we want to hear where you stand on it. Also, go to randomchatter.com/store to pick up cool merchandise, Random Chatter t-shirts. Hey Tim, it looks like underneath your shirt there, you've got one of the Random Chatter t-shirts. Like, can you show it to us?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just pull it aside a little bit right there. Blink if you're having problems. Yeah,
yes.
Okay. All right. Again, if you're listening to this via audio and you're not getting the joke, randomchatter.com/YouTube or youtube.com/randomchatter. Hit that subscribe and like button. Hit the bell for notifications when we put new shows up. You're missing out a lot if you're not watching the video, just saying. Or in Tim's case, you're missing like not anything at all, really. Though my eyes are starting to hurt.
I also put up a screenshot in Discord.
I saw that. Yeah. All right. That's going to do it for this episode. If you're here in the chat room, stick around for another maybe 10 or 15 minutes. We're going to be back with our review show, and we've got some cool stuff to cover there as well. Otherwise, check us out Tuesday night. We're going to be covering, I think, the Suicide Squad. If not, the Woman in the Window. I think the Suicide Squad on Movie Chatter, and then we will be back. So quick note. We will not be doing live shows or video shows next weekend. I will be unavailable. There will be audio shows, but nothing on video. We will be returning to video the following week. So next video show is Movie Chatter this Tuesday, and then we're taking a week off of video, and then we'll be back right after that with more Random Chatter and Force Chatter. But stick around for Random Chatter here in a few minutes. Everybody else,